Further debate. The member for Scarborough-Guildwood.
Thank you, Speaker, and it's always a pleasure to rise in the House on behalf of the people of Scarborough-Guildwood. And today, it's an important debate that we're having on Bill 229. And I cannot overstate enough, Speaker, how critical this budget is in responding to the COVID-19 pandemic and the economic recession that has resulted from this pandemic. It's a historic moment, but yet, again, this government has missed it, has done too little for what is required at this time. And frankly, Speaker, this budget is a huge disappointment. It does not go far enough to deliver on the protection and the supports that Ontarians need at this critical time of a health crisis. Speaker, this budget shamefully neglects Ontario's students, parents, and education staff by failing to provide funding to respond to the COVID-19 pressures, and it merely includes funding that has already been announced. Despite constant outbreaks, the government has not implemented the measures that parents and education staff have been clearly asking for since the summer, since actually before the summer, to follow the advice of health experts and educators to reduce class sizes to 15 to ensure social distancing and the safety of students and our education workers. And, I listen to the minister respond oftentimes by saying, well, there aren't many outbreaks. Well, if you look in Scarborough, you will see the number of schools that are in outbreak, because Scarborough is a hotspot. And where the virus exists in communities, it comes into the schools. So as a result, we're seeing the spread of COVID-19 within our schools. Like the 13 positive cases that are currently in Lester B. Pearson High School in Scarborough. Not only is this a health risk, but 7 staff and 69 students are being asked to self-isolate, interrupting their lives, their family lives, their work, their education, and the learning. Government has prioritized providing individual families with $200 per child under 12 and $250 per child with special needs under 21, regardless of their income or their need, rather than investing in more educational supports and in classroom learning. The Ford government must have plans to further cut education, because there is less money in the system per student to make the numbers add up. Before the pandemic, there were substantial education gaps between marginalized and non-marginalized communities, and these gaps will likely continue to deepen and to increase without additional funding and support to target resources to students who need them the most, and in communities where they are needed the most. I really worry every single day about the students in Scarborough who are under-resourced. They're just going to fall behind without more supports in school to deal with the disruptions in their learning. There needs to be investments in more special education teachers and other caring adults in our school system. What about the devices and the connectivity that are needed to keep learning uninterrupted through the pandemic? There are many families that simply just cannot afford it. There's not much in new funding for colleges and universities either. And despite students being required to continue to pay their full tuition, or the reduction in educational offerings, and the fact that post-secondary institutions have increased uncertainty because international student enrollments are down, there's no response from this government to stabilize that sector. If post-secondary institutions are to play a key role in the training of the next generation of workers as the economy rebounds, the government will have to provide financial supports for post-secondary institutions and students who attend them, especially in smaller and more rural and northern communities. They too deserve an option. Students faced a summer of unemployment and youth unemployment remains high, as jobs and internships disappeared during the lockdown. And now, under this government's cuts to OSAP, many are left wondering how to pay their tuition. And once again, it's marginalized students who will be the most impacted and the least able to bear this burden. And this could have a scarring effect on our youth, and the government must pay attention to this. I will say that I am happy to see in this budget funding for micro-credentials. Employment services and training programs are critical. And although there is mention of it, the scope does not recognize the size of the problem in the economic recovery. It really is just a little bit of help. So lastly, in terms of education funding, this budget offers nothing for childcare, despite the huge need and the overwhelming challenges that we have heard persistently. We know that reliable, affordable childcare will be essential to ensuring that women resume employment to pre-pandemic levels, and that the pandemic poses challenges for safe childcare. But there is no new funding to ensure that childcare is safe for children and staff and accessible to the families who need it. And Speaker, despite all of this that the government could have done in a budget where they purport to support and to protect, what they fail to do is to continue to protect the environment. Because time and time again, we see the government wants to meddle. I've heard from dozens of constituents and organizations who have expressed concern, serious concern, about the changes to the conservation authorities. 95% of Ontarians live in watershed communities, like in my riding of Scarborough-Guildwood, which require careful and considerate environmental management. And I have to say, we are currently being well served by the Toronto Region Conservation Authority. I've met with them multiple times. Many organizations dedicated to the environmental stability of Ontario have expressed their deep concerns about Schedule 6 of this bill, including the Canadian Environmental Law Association and the TRCA. The TRCA does excellent work, and they want to continue to do this necessary work. They issued a statement that is alarming, and I quote, "There are substantial concerns regarding proposed amendments to the Conservation Authority's roles in permitting, planning and enforcement. This will impact the TRCA's ability to independently represent its interests in respect of advice provided to municipalities on natural heritage matters, advice provided to municipalities on natural hazard matters, advice provided to municipalities to ensure coordination of the TRCA's regulatory permitting requirements." And it continues. Speaker, this government is continuing on its path of weakening environmental protection by opening the door for the minister to override decisions taken by conservation authorities for their own political reasons. Conservation authorities have good reason to be worried because they have seen this government's track record. They've cancelled rebates on electric vehicles. They have ripped out charging stations along the 401 series highways. They are currently tearing down windmills in Eastern Ontario, and they've moved to open our protected green space and wetlands to developers. Our farmers and our agri-producers are strong on protecting the land and the environment for future generations. That is not what we're talking about here. This government seeks to divide urban and rural. And Speaker, we shouldn't let them. Our farmers don't want to see flooding or extreme weather. And what this government is doing is putting that future of the environment at risk by, once again, overreaching. Speaker, I cannot finish my remarks without talking about the dismal record in this government preparing for a second wave. This is a second wave budget. We are months into the year, and yet there is very little in this budget that actually speaks to the biggest need that we have in this province at this time. This government cannot claim that they didn't know how bad the public health situation would get, because they have been told by their own experts and the secret advice that they are currently receiving. They simply have ignored those warnings. They knew that we would be facing a serious fight in the fall and the winter, but this is the best that the government can offer. Speaker, I cannot believe that in this budget that we do not see investments in health care, the acute health care, as well as in public health. This is a missed opportunity from this government. We know that hospital capacity, the minister said that this morning, is at 100% right now. And what is astonishing is that the Minister of Long-Term Care has actually downloaded responsibility for the frontline defense of this pandemic onto the backs of public health without any funding to back it up, Speaker. This is disgraceful. And Speaker, there are consequences to this in our long-term care. I have spoken in this House about the devastating effects of long-term care in hotspots like my riding of Scarborough-Guildwood. There are 2 long-term care facilities, Kennedy Lodge and Rockcliffe, that are in full outbreak, and residents are dying. And there is no excuse for this government to not appropriately fund long-term care in this budget. It is a missed opportunity, Speaker. Speaker, the families, communities, teachers, residents of long-term care, education workers, they have all been betrayed by this government in this budget. There is no protection that is there, that is required at this time to deal with the extent of this pandemic and the future economic recovery that we are expecting here in Ontario. And so I would say to this government, go back to the drawing board and do better next time. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. We won't have time for questions and responses today because it's that hour where we move into a different part of the agenda. Orders of the day.